From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. Glad you're with us tonight. There is a lot going on in the Metro Council, so we thought we would talk about all that's going on in the council tonight. Let's just name a few. There's talk about eliminating emissions testing in Davidson County, using COVID money to manage the homeless in some metro parks. That has sparked some controversy. Party bus regulations, pedal tavern regulations, special session. The legislature had a special session and passed some COVID guidelines, rules, regulations, put it off on Metro. What are some thoughts about that? Very happy to have with us Steve Glover, Councilman at Large, Steve Glover. Councilman, thank you for being here.
Sure. Always good to be with you, Ben. Thank you.
I haven't seen you for a while. I haven't interviewed you in a while, and it's good to just talk Metro Council. And now,
well, I've been out here, just still plugging away, buddy.
Plugging away. How would you characterize yourself? Would you say you're more conservative? How would you? I know, council positions are not Democrat, Republican, but how would you characterize your philosophy on the council?
I am full-blown conservative. I am absolutely the conservative, maybe the most staunch conservative on the council. I don't believe in wasting money. I don't believe in spending money we don't have, which we do that a lot. And I happen to be a Republican, and I'm proud of that. It's not on party lines, but I try to make sure, because I am council at large, I try to make sure that conservative voice is always heard in Nashville. I think it has to be heard. We represent a lot more people than they give us credit for, a lot more people. And so therefore, I try to make sure that I'm always representing, everyone in Nashville, but certainly that conservative voice, because, I'm elected to work for the people. I don't work for the government. I work for the people.
And so how do you think things are going right now? I just read off a long list of things, and I'll ask you about each one of those. But what are your thoughts? I haven't interviewed you in a while. What's kind of standing out to you?
Well, I don't think we really have any consistency. We do not work together. Let's be very clear on that. It's really sad. I've watched the things deteriorate over the years. When I first got on the council, we would try to work collectively. That it didn't matter if you were conservative or not, but that's kind of diminished, and it's really kind of eroded. And the sad part is like, our group helped the mayor get elected. Now he wants nothing to do with us. And that's why I have to be a little louder on what I say, because candidly, we represent 40+% of the city population. And I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and let them just roll over us. I'm pretty tough, and I'm going to make sure I'm representing the people who put me in that seat.
That's interesting. So you're saying they don't work with you, and they say you're not going to let them roll over you. What do they not work with you on, and what is an example? What do you mean by roll over?
Well, we're going to find out. I've introduced a bill that'll be coming up on first reading on this pedal tavern. I've heard the students from Hume Fogg. I've heard the downtown businesses talking about how it's disrupting the classrooms, how it's disrupting their office atmosphere throughout the day, Monday through Friday. So I've got a bill coming that will really kind of concentrate on where those pedal taverns will be able to go. They won't be able to go in front of Hume Fogg. They won't be able to go in certain downtown business district areas because it is disruptive. People are downtown trying to work. Our kids at Hume Fogg, by the way, our kids at Hume Fogg are some of the smartest in the entire state, in fact, in the entire country. We need to let those students who are absolutely focused on making sure that they take advantage of every bit of their educational opportunity, we need to make sure we let them take advantage of it. And so we can't have these things rolling down in front of the schools, making all kinds of noise, raising all kinds of cane. We've got to watch out for our students. We've got to watch out for our businesses. And this is just the beginning. I don't want to shut them down. I'm a pro-business guy, but I also think that we've got to work together. So let's see if the council accepts this, or if they're going to fight me on it. We'll see where it goes.
So how is that different than the party bus regulations? Didn't the council just pass some party bus regulations, and everybody's outraged by those? I mean, it seems like it. Yeah. What about, how is this different?
This is not party buses. This is those pedal taverns that are going. Yeah, the party, but you actually have two sets of rules. And so therefore I'm concentrating on the set of rules on the pedal taverns, because that was one of the things when I talked to some of the students at Hume Fogg, that was absolutely something that was driving them crazy. You know, Freddie O'Connell really kind of led the charge on the party bus issue. I'm leading the charge on the pedal tavern issue. I think we will hopefully we'll find a good, happy median for everybody. You know, a lot of the party bus people didn't like it because there were no regulations. You basically could roll in on Thursday, and if you want to operate here, you could do it. Now, you know, Councilman O'Connell has done a good job on really zeroing in with that, because the state's got regulation too. So those blend well together. We're going to do the same thing here. I'm introducing it, and then I'm looking forward to talking and saying, all right, guys, you know, I'm happy to work with you, but you got to work with us. We've got to take care of our students. We've got to take care of that business district. And I really won't bend much on that issue.
Now, when I was reading about the party bus thing that was kind of spearheaded by Freddie Councilman O'Connell, and I saw there was some pushback from some business owners downtown. I think Steve Smith, Tootsie's, some of those owners said these party buses, you're shutting them down, and these bring money, revenue to the city. It's certainly something tourists enjoy doing. Are you getting pushback on pedal taverns from that same group, or how are they reacting to that?
Well, I mean, first of all, we're not shutting it down. We're regulating it. And there's two big differences there. You know, we all have our rules to follow. You have rules you have to follow when you come to work. You have rules you have to follow when you're on the air. You've got to do certain things. Well, the same holds true with this. The pedal taverns, we're not saying you can't do business. We're saying in this legislation that if it passes, you can't go down in certain parts of the city during business hours, 8 a.m. to like 4 p.m., I think, or 8 to 5, something like that. I don't remember. I think it's 8 to 4, Ben. But the bottom line is that's time where people are trying to work Monday through Friday. They can do whatever they want on the weekends, okay? But on Monday through Friday, during business hours, they're going to have to stay away from certain parts of that business district, and they're going to have to stay away from Hume Fogg specifically, because that is a high intensity learning environment, and we cannot allow our students to be cheated of being able to focus on what they want to do and how they want to do it. Because I mean, we don't have to push those young adults to want a better education. They want it themselves. It's up to us now as the adults in the room to make sure we give them that opportunity.
Now, do you have any reason to believe that wouldn't do well if the party bus thing passed? Do you think the pedal tavern is going to have a tough road or not?
I hope not. I hope not. But you got to understand, I'm the one introducing it. We're going to see what happens.
Okay. What do you think about eliminating?
Ben, I'm just calling it the way I see it. If I come up with an idea, even though it may be a great idea, a lot of folks will say, "Oh, it's Glover." No, Well, that's the wrong attitude. Mm-hmm. We should all be working together to make Nashville an exceptional city, and I frankly haven't felt that. And I've never had that happen before with previous councils or the administrations. The administration and I have always had roughs, and because we just have difference of philosophy. But this administration has cut off the conservative voice completely. They have no interest in hearing what we have to say, even though they promised they would listen to us, and even though they asked us to vote for them, and even though they said we would work together. It has not happened.
Early on in COVID, weren't you put on a small committee? You were put on a subcommittee or a committee about helping businesses by this mayor, right? By the mayor. And right. Maybe that was in better days when you all had a better relationship. What do you think has happened?
Well, what happened was I totally disagreed with his 32% tax increase. I told him so. We had some interesting words together, and he made a comment to me, and I basically said, well, if that's the way it is, I guess I'm done. And, and it just really hadn't been repaired since then. I've tried to reach out, but, it takes two. It's a two-way street here. And for him to literally cut off the voice of the conservatives is a big mistake. If and I'll just say it, if he's going to run again, don't count on us to be anywhere near you, because we won't be, and we helped you get there.
Well, interesting. All right, I was going to ask about emissions testing, but I'm going to ask about the special session in the legislature. So the special session came. They passed several bills and a resolution that would change the way Nashville deals with COVID, puts more kind of limitations on how we as a city deal with it. What do you think of what came down from the state legislature?
I think that if you threaten the state constantly, and we've done a good job of that in Nashville, we still have a bill hanging out there on a mask mandate. If we would have just let it go, then it may not have been quite as intense. But what a lot of folks don't understand, Nashville is a huge economic engine for the state of Tennessee. And so they're going to make sure they're protecting their assets, just like we're trying to protect ours. Ben, I know it's been drawn by party lines. I frankly, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. But don't tell me, the government does not need to be telling me what I have to do. And, there's some controversy on some of the bills. I'm not in the state, so I didn't have any hand in writing those. But I do know that, COVID does not exist in just a government building. And so when you have all these regulations that look like they'll never, ever go away, you really back the state, I believe, into a corner where they have to try to protect the people of Nashville and protect the people of Tennessee. And I firmly believe that's exactly what they were trying to do. We bring a lot of this stuff on ourselves. When we say, basically, we don't care what the state has to say, that's a slap in the face. The city does not exist without the state. We're not sovereign. The state is the one who allows us to have the cities, and not just Nashville, all cities. But we just kept on and kept on and kept on and kept on with these issues. And I think, frankly, I don't like speaking on behalf of any lawmaker at the state. I think the state looked at it and said it's threatening the business community there, and they took action.
Now, some would say that some of these regulations made us safer than other parts in the state. Even though we're more highly populated, we had better results when it came to COVID than a lot of other parts of the state. And so some would argue that that was a good thing. And the other thing, as a conservative, people would say you would be against these mandates, and here's the state coming in telling the city what to do, telling Metro what to do. How does that sit with you?
Well, and it's a fine act there. That's the part that does bother me about it. But, it's sort of like if the child's not going to be good, the parent has to make decisions. And that's really kind of where we are. We still have a mask mandate hanging out there that got deferred indefinitely. It could have been brought back up on third reading just with one notice, and bam, it could have passed. And the next thing you know, we've got all of this hanging over Nashville that's not hanging anywhere else in the state. Now, Ben, the problem is when we shut down so hard before with COVID, and the numbers, you can talk numbers all you want. I would argue back and forth as far as, what the real results and the real this and real that is. Again, if you don't feel safe without having a mask on, wear a mask. If you want to take the vaccine, take the vaccine. I got the vaccine. I did it. But that's a personal choice. The government doesn't need to be telling you how to do those things. But yet in Nashville, we keep threatening and threatening and threatening. And I think people are over it. But again, it's not taking away your opportunity to wear the mask. If you feel like it protects you and it's safer and you feel better about it, by all means, wear it. But if you're like I am, and I took the vaccine, they said, hey, you take the vaccine, you're protected. Don't keep bringing new stuff at me constantly. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. And frankly, I don't like one person in Nashville, Tennessee, having that amount of authority, because that's what's happened. And so I applaud the state. If it doesn't work, we can always go and petition the state to hand it back to us. Let's see how it's going to work.
There's some council members who want to, challenge it legally and that kind of thing. You're certainly not there. You don't feel that way.
No, and they didn't even, and I was somewhat surprised. They didn't even approach me about signing the letter to the state. I'm kidding, because I wouldn't sign it, okay? I have said repeatedly, stop with the threats, with the regulations, with all these other things. Stop doing it. But again, they don't listen sometimes. And this is what you get. Whenever we go out of our way to really make it uncomfortable for our folks, then the state, I think, has no choice but to step in and say, you're going to quit doing that. And so they did it for the entire state. They didn't single out. They did it for the entire state. Difference is Nashville feels like that we should be treated differently than anybody else. Well, half the people who work in Nashville don't live in Nashville. I don't think people really look at that. That's just like, let's talk about the emissions test. It's time for that to go away, because almost half the cars that come into Nashville don't reside in Nashville. And so when we have these laws, these rules, these specific things that are set in Nashville only, it creates obstacles for people to come in, do business here, understand what they can do, what they can't do. And I'm just glad we have a uniform prospect across the state.
All right. So there's a lot there. All right. I want to ask about emissions testing. We have a couple calls. Reverend Fuzz is on the line. Reverend Fuzz, I'm going to get to you. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll take the calls. Reverend Fuzz, Mike, others, hold on the line. And we'll be back right after this.